Good evening, everybody. It's an honor, a privilege to have Shri Narayana Murthy, sir, for accepting our invitation to be here today for the TiE Mysuru chapter event. We are also awaiting Javagal Shrinath to arrive. He will arrive at any moment now. Since Sir also has a time constraint, we will get started. I welcome all the TiE Mysuru chapter members, the board members, the charter members, associate members, institution members, student members. All of you, welcome to this landmark milestone event of Mysuru chapter of TiE. I have the unenvious task of introducing the guests today. Introducing Shri Narayana Murthy will be like throwing a torchlight to the sun. And it applies also to Javagal Shrinath. I have a very detailed profile of Narayana, but there's nobody here or anywhere else who wouldn't know him. So I took the liberty of doing a summary and try to use a couple of anecdotes which I'm very fond of, which I hear from NRN sir. Mr. Murthy is a globally respected entrepreneur and founder of Infosys Limited. He founded Infosys in 1981. Infosys is today a highly innovative software services global company, as you all know, listed on NYSE in the US and on the Bombay Stock Exchange in Mumbai, with a revenue of, this is slightly dated, sir, my apologies, with a revenue of 14 billion and about $95 billion in market capitalization. In 2014, Mr. Murthy was ranked 13th amongst CNBC's 25 global business leaders, pride of India, and was listed amongst the 12 greatest entrepreneurs of our time. He received honors from the French government, CBE from Britain, and Padma Vibhushan from India. The Economist ranked him amongst the 10 most admired global business leaders in 2005. He's the first Indian winner of E&Y, Ernst & Young's World Entrepreneur of the Year. Currently, Mr. Murthy is the Chairman Emeritus of Catamaran Ventures. He also serves on the boards of several universities, several companies, and there is a whole list. I wouldn't want to read all of it. I have had the good opportunity to know him for some time. I will take the liberty of a few things which I very fondly recollect and use it as an inspiration and also to motivate myself whenever I feel a little bit down. The first time I went to his office along with my father, the office was in Jayanagar. When I sat in front of him on his table, the table was covered with glass. Just below the glass, there was a check. And my father asked him a question, "What is this check?" And he said, "It will always be there because I always want to remember my origins. This is the first check I received after I started business." Something I can never forget. I was probably in school at that point in time. And the next time I went to see him at the fantastic Infosys campus in Bangalore. Um, he told me two things. One, which we hopefully will follow today. I know we are running a little bit late. He said, the most valuable thing you should respect about the other individual is that individual's time, and hence punctuality and respect for other person's time is absolutely important. I hope TiE Mysuru will develop the culture and we will become more punctual in our programs. He also said another thing when I had a brief opportunity to work with him uh, at NI Mysore. He said in one of the meetings, he said, in God we trust, but everybody else brings data to the table. And there's a compilation of all the anecdotes and quotes of NRN on the internet. And that's fascinating. That gives a great insight into the persona he is and the inspiration he is to all of us. Javagal Shrinath will be here any moment, but I will do a brief introduction of Javagal Shrinath. We know that he's been a legendary cricketer, bowler, a person who's supposed to have bowled the fastest, second fastest ball in world cricket. Both of them come from Mysore, so it's such an honor to have both of them today in one program. Both of them are legendary and global icons in their own fields. Javagal Shrinath has many records, cricketing records, highest number of wickets in World Cups by an Indian bowler, so on and so forth. But the other side of Javagal Shrinath, which is seldom known, is his entrepreneurial journey. He developed software for cricket analytics in partnership with Global Phoenix Solutions, even during the late 90s. He was one of the first to bring technology into sports, particularly in cricket. So today, all the analytics we see when an IPL game is played or a test match is played, a lot of credit goes to Srinath and his business. He developed software for ICC, which provides match referee reports, captain reports, and pitch reports. He developed cricket talent profiling software and accounting software when he was part of KSCA. He's an investor in TiE platform, TiE like similar to Twitter, which we see on promoted on Republic TV, if I'm correct. TiE is an Indian microblogging and social networking service based out of Bangalore. He's also an avid animal lover and has multiple charities that he runs. Hope to have him here quite soon. So with that, I welcome all of you. Very grateful, sir, for accepting our invite and being here today. Thank you all, and I will now hand over to the Master of Ceremonies to continue, and please track Javagal and make sure he's here as early as possible. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, sir. When everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes against the wind and not with it. So this is a statement by Henry Ford. Such a great pleasure to have Shri Narayana Murthy sir here. So as per the schedule, we were just waiting for Javagal Shrinath sir. Till then, I humbly request Shri Narayana Murthy sir to address the entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, and student members of TiE Mysuru who are planning to become entrepreneurs with few of your words.
Well, First of all, let me thank my friend Sudhanva for this kind invitation. Sudhanva has been known to me for a long time. His father, Professor Dhananjaya, was my teacher at the National Institute of Engineering. For now, it's almost 60 years. It is 60 years since I first met Professor Dhananjaya. He was known as the best electrical engineering professor. And I had met Dhananjaya as a small urchin. Now it's almost 50 years, probably, or whatever, between 45 and 50. And I have been observing his progress in education, in his studies abroad, and his desire to come back to the country and become the best known entrepreneur from the city of Mysuru. He has succeeded in his desire not only by his Excel soft, but also by starting a school. And almost any young couple that you speak to would want their children to join Dhananjaya's school. I have had the occasion to visit his school. It's an excellent school. Schools like Excelsoft School, as well as my friend Gopal Krishnan's National Public School in Mysuru. They're all very probably most important institutions because they provide education, and education is what shapes us. It provides us culture. It provides us the ability to think of adding value to the society. I'm also very pleased when Dhananjaya told me that, Sudhanva told me that we're going to have my younger friend, Shrinath, in this function. He's somewhere on the road because he's stuck because of the vagaries of our railway system. And I have known Shrinath for about 25 years now. Srinath is not just the person who bowled the second fastest ball, as Sudhanva pointed out. I was reading on Facebook the other day, I believe at the Nets, Srinath, who was a fresh entrant, was asked to bowl to Venkateswarlu. in 1990 or 91. And he bowled a fast bouncer. And Wengsarkar got upset. He said, no, 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 don't bowl bouncers at in the nets. The next ball was an extremely fast Yorker that hit the foot of Wengsarkar. And then Kapil Dev told Wengsarkar, you have to be careful when you speak to good fast bowlers. Fast bowler as a Srinath is not just known for his cricket, but I have known him as a very ethical person, a man with a wise head on strong shoulders. I am spending some time because I'm waiting for Srinath to join, so please don't mistake me if I sound like I'm dragging. I am dragging. When NIE University was decided to be formed by the NIE Management Council, Mr. D.A. Prasanna, a distinguished student of the 1968 batch, mechanical engineering, and a very successful corporate leader, starting with his post IIM Ahmedabad degree as a Tata Administrative Services trainee. He ended up as the managing director of Wipro GE, and then he became an entrepreneur for conducting clinical experiments. So the management council members were unanimous that Shri D.A. Prasanna should be the chancellor of the university. And Prasanna requested me to invite a few friends of mine to be the members of the board of the University of NIE, and three names came to me very quickly. All these were distinguished people, very ethical people, highly successful in their careers. And they were, the first was my friend and contemporary at IIT Kanpur, Professor Ashok Mishra, who retired as the director of IIT Bombay, and he had established a record about 15 years ago of having produced the largest number of good PhDs from an Indian institution. He produced 237 PhDs in 2007 or something like that. And a man, a good administrator, good decision maker, very ethical person. The second person that came to my mind was Javagal Shrinath. We'd all admired Srinath, not just on the field, as spectators, as somebody who was always ethical in his cricketing actions. But his reputation as an ethical person was even better known outside. Doesn't matter who you speak to, whether it is cricketers or his friends or even his detractors. One thing they would say about Srinath is that he played it straight. He was a highly ethical person. He understood entrepreneurship. He was encouraging a lot of entrepreneurs. So Srinath was the second choice. And the third person that I chose, where is he now, Sudanva? Okay. No, because I don't want to start the conversation without Srinath. At the same time, I am a stickler for punctuality. Our AGM always started at 3 p.m. There was no question of a minute delay or a second delay. So, in some way, I'm trying to balance the two. My desire for punctuality with my affection for Srinath, because it is such a pleasure to spend time with him. The third person that I chose was Professor Bandyopadhyay. She happens to be the director of the Indian Statistical Institute. It's a very high quality PhD in mathematics and statistics. And of course, she has done a lot of work in computer science. She had won the Infosys Prize several years ago. And she has taken ISI to great heights. So these were the three distinguished people, and everybody was very pleased. The point I'm making is that Javagal Shrinath is as respected on the cricket field as he is respected outside. I am reminded of what somebody said about Albert Einstein. Said, even if you subtract from Einstein all the extraordinary achievements in physics, he would still remain as great a person as he was when you include all his achievements in physics. So you could say a very similar thing about Srinath. Now let me come to what is relevant to you people. I met a lot of people. They were very kind to come and introduce themselves to me. But one issue that I have with most Indian entrepreneurs is the lack of clarity in terms of who the customer is, what the differentiated business value proposition is, and what is the business model? How do you monetize? As you people know, economists say that price is what you pay, and value is what you expect from whatever you buy. So, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to first think of what is my differentiated business value proposition to my customers. What do you mean by differentiated business value proposition? Or differentiated value proposition if you're looking at your customers as consumers, if it's a B2C. That differentiation has to come with all other people who are providing similar solutions in the market. That is, you must be able to say very clearly in what way my idea offers better value to my customer compared to all other existing products or services. That's the first. I want every one of you tomorrow morning to write that thing and make it very clear to you. Because unless it is clear to you, you cannot make it clear to me. You cannot make it clear to your employees who you want to attract. You cannot make it clear to your customers. You cannot make it clear to your investors. So the first question that you have to seek answer to is, in what way is my idea better than all other existing products and services? Now, I will go a step further. See, I am an engineer, so I am used to speaking in terms of quantitative stuff. I am used to numbers. I still remember it was in July 1962. Those days at NIE, there was a tradition where the entire freshman class, that is the first year class of 120 students, 40 mechanical, 40 electrical, and 40 civil, would assemble in the old quadrangle, which was in the civil engineering block, not the new one. That new building was not there till 1965 or 66, I don't remember. And we were given a lecture by Professor A. Sheshappa. Professor Sheshappa was our principal. And I still remember 2 or 3 sentences that he said. He said, what is the meaning of you people becoming engineers? What does it mean? In what way your life will change once you pass out of this institute? He said, the first thing that will change is you will start measuring everything. You will start measuring everything. Come. Come. No, I was waiting for you only.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the Indian cricketer, Javagal Shrinath.
Come.
The moment that we all waited for. So we have both the legends who had taken the glory of Mysuru across the globe. So a huge round of applause to Shri Narayana Murthy sir as well as Javagal Shrinath sir. Now officially I request Bhaskar Kalale sir to proceed with the fireside chat.
No, I think let me complete what I'm saying.
Sure sir, we'll go with you.
There was a purpose in what I was saying. You know what happened was, I said, I have this, you know me, I have this penchant for discipline, for punctuality. So I said, but I have lot of affection for you. So I said, and a lot of respect for what you have done. So I said, I will strike a balance between my fetish with discipline and my abundant affection, admiration, and respect for you. So I started the function at 5:30. But then I said, I will fill up the time between when we started and your arrival by talking hopefully something useful. So I will take a few more minutes and finish.
Please.
Yeah. So Professor A. Sheshappa, he said, look, you are an engineer. What is the meaning of being an engineer? What it means is, you know enough mathematics. You will know enough modeling to prepare a mathematical model and measure whatever observations you make. You will not use the word, you will not use qualitative stuff. You will say, this is much better than that. No, that's not how an engineer will speak. The second thing he said is, I want you people to remember one thing in life, and that is, if you cannot measure, then you cannot improve. There is no way you can improve if you cannot measure. Now, for example, in the olden days of 50s, when Freddie Truman and Brian Statham used to bowl at our Indian cricketers, some of them used to run away from the from the wicket. I mean, we have all heard about it. I don't know, those days there was no TV, so we don't know how true it is, how false it is. But look at the beauty today. It says that Usman Malik has bowled correct me if I'm wrong, the fastest ball in India. I don't know, am I right or wrong?
Usman Malik sir,
Nisar
Ahmad.
Huh?
Nisar Ahmad.
Nisar Ahmad, who is the arrow? So what I'm saying is, and they said he bowled it at 157 kilometers per hour or something. Whatever. See, look at the beauty of that. Now you can say, this man's average speed is 143 kilometers and that man says 157. So the point why I'm saying is, I want to close this quickly because the chief guest has arrived. The reason is, when you talk about differentiated business value, you have to do some mathematical modeling of the value you provide to the customer and then demonstrate to your customers how much of that value to the customer is better from your product compared to other products. Let me take a specific example and make this clearer to you. Let's assume that Srinath and I are competitors. I produce a product for whatever purpose, and I have used my mathematical value modeling, and I demonstrate to my customer that I am charging 100 rupees of price. Using my own mathematical modeling, I demonstrate to the customer that the customer gets a value of 200 rupees. So what we call value leverage. What is value leverage in this case? It is value over price, that is 200 over 100 equal to 2. I'm gloating, I'm trying, talking about and all. And here comes Srinath. He says, look friend, my mathematical model, which you can question, I can explain, whatever it is, provides you a value of 300 rupees to you. But I am going to charge 120 rupees for my product. So the value leverage in this case is 300 over 120, which is 2.5. Now I have absolutely no doubt that all of you will buy his product without exception. And those of you who do not buy will be idiots. For a very simple reason. For every rupee that you spend, Srinath is giving 2.5 rupees. Whereas for every rupee that you give me and buy my product, you get only 2 rupees of value. But there is a beauty in what Srinath is doing. Every sale he makes, he gets 20% higher realization than me, because he gets 120 rupees and I get only 100. What it means is, he can pay better salaries to his people. He can put in more in R&D. He can build a better brand. So the point I want to say is this, that every one of you must create a mathematical model of value to the customer, not to you, value to the customer, and a mathematical model of price, and then compute that ratio of value or price, and try and create such a computation for your competing products. And if your proposition is higher, just go to town with that and you will win. Let me stop here because the big man has arrived. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. On track, and thank you very much, sir, for keeping us engaged and sharing your thoughts with us. So we're back on track with our regularly scheduled program. But before I begin, very quick introduction about myself. My name is Bhaskar Kadale. That is for those of you who do not know me. And for those who know me, my name still remains the same. There is no change. So I've been an entrepreneur all my life, or most of my life. I recently launched a company called 55plus.in, which is a marketplace of product and services exclusively for people above the age of 55 years. So with that being my introduction, I've also been a past CII chairman for Mysuru zone, and I'm currently the board member, or one of the board members for TiE Mysuru chapter as well. So it's a great pleasure to be here, so-called moderator, to be sitting on the same stage as with two legends, Mr. Narayana Murthy and Mr. Javagal Shrinath. To be honest with you, I have butterflies running in my stomach right now, because being on the same stage, it's quite different. So even though I had new plumbing done in my heart recently, some of you know that already, but it is still something which gives me palpitations when I'm sitting here trying to moderate things. One other quick thing is what you just saw Mr. Narayana Murthy do here is that we had a plan, right? So, and unfortunately for various reasons, we had to deviate from the plan, right? So we deviated from the plan, but we improvised it. So as opposed to people saying that we had a plan B, we never had a plan B. So we had a plan, and for various reasons that plan wasn't working as per schedule. So we improvised. We requested Mr. Narayana Murthy to come and talk to us, and that's what many of the entrepreneurs are told today, saying never have a plan B. If you have a plan B, it should be only one line which says go back and look at plan A, right? So anytime you have a plan B, that means you have a fallback option. Right? So with no further ado, it's a great pleasure to have two legends with us, and they obviously don't need any introduction. As I say, both of them together actually represent two major passion that Indians have. Right? Actually, three major. Two of the three is represented here. As I say, there's two C's. One is cricket and cinema. That's a passion for all Indians, and the third one is the software. Right, so cricket is represented by Mr. Javagal Shrinath and software by Mr. Narayana Murthy. The only thing that we are probably missing is somebody from the cinema that would have completed the canvas. But to have somebody as big legends and names as Mr. Narayana Murthy and Javagal Shrinath, both of them to be from Mysore, from a small city, and of course a smaller city when they actually started. So my first question to you both is, when you started, Mysore was a small city, right? So how was it when you started, to be in Mysore and then making it to the world stage? So I'll start with Mr. Narayana Murthy, sir.
Well, I came to Mysore from a small town called Madhugiri in 1959 October. It's about 63 years ago. Mysore was beautiful. Even today it is beautiful, except for some extensions that have been built that have not been very well planned. But by and large, the areas that we used to go to, they have remained very similar. Second, there was only one engineering college at that time. Third, the air was clean. Of course, we didn't even bother about it at that time. Fourth, we used to go to Ganesha Talkies, which doesn't exist today, and we used to pay 25 paise per movie. That is quarter of a rupee. I don't know what, 25 paise. I still remember I saw My Fair Lady. I saw, well, Sound of Music was in Prabha Talkies in the city. It was not in Ganesha. Then I saw Ben-Hur on the 100 Feet Road. What is that theatre on 100 Feet Road?
Lakshmi Talkies.
Oh, I think so. Then there were very few restaurants well known. There was Indra Cafe and Indra Bhavan. And for youngsters, it was a few adventurous youngsters. I was not one of them. There were two passions. One was miss the class in the morning around 9:30 or 10 and then go in front of Maharani's college on their cycles. Go this way, that way, this way, that way, this way, that way. And second, in the evening, they would go in front of that road opposite Devaraja Market from one corner, whatever, to the other corner, this way, oscillate, because they wanted to see girls. That was a big, so I thought, I first time I'd gone to the city with my mother for buying some vegetables. I saw a friend of mine. He was there, he was going this way. And after some time when we came out, he was coming this way. I said, ಏನಪ್ಪ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀಯ ನೀನು? ಇಲ್ಲ ಸಾರ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅದು ಕಣ್ಣು ತಂಪು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ NI ಎದುರುಗಡೆ ರಾಮರಾವ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದಿತ್ತು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ I think most of the students spent more time in Ramrav's hotel than in classes. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಚಂದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಒಬ್ಬ ಇದ್ದ, ಅವನು ವೇಟರು. ಅವನಿಗೆ 8/13 ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 3 ಮಾಲ್ಟು 4 ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಾಫಿ ಹಂಗೆ. And they were such experts, unbelievable. Then I remember we had some excellent debaters in V.K. Nataraj and Raghavendra Bhatta. V.K. Nataraj was, in my opinion, probably was Karnataka's best debater. Definitely of that time, probably of all times, in English. And Raghavendra Bhatta was our best debater in Kannada. But very interestingly, in general knowledge competition and spelling competition, somehow it was NIE versus medical college finals. And NIE used to win. I was part of the team. Then there used to be a fellow called R.S. Krishnaswamy. We used to call him Tumbi. Later on, he was a cricket commentator and all of that. That is what's the famous writer? R.K. Narayan's nephews. Avunu, let me move forward. Then life was very simple. Eating 2 meals a day was a fantastic sense of happiness. We were 8 children. Father was an assistant educational officer. It means he looked after primary and secondary schools in part of Mysuru district. Salary of 180 rupees. Mother would be cooking from 6 a.m. to 11 or at least 10 p.m. on wooden stove. Sometimes that wood would be wet and it was extremely difficult for her. But it was big fun. My father believed that a healthy mind lives in a healthy body. So he would insist that all of us go and play cricket, any game. So we had formed a cricket club called Anonymous Cricket Club. I'll tell you why we called that. I was not very good as a cricketer, neither a bowler nor a batsman. But I was chosen captain for a very important reason. Everybody knew that I was Faltu. It's almost like that Maharaja Vijayanagaram, who was sent to England as the captain for reasons other than merit. Why they chose me as the captain was, I was very good in English. And mostly we used to get defeated. And those days there was this tradition that the captain of the defeated team had to accept that we were defeated and then sign. ನಾನು ಟೋಟಲಿ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಬರೆದು ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಅಷ್ಟು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಐ ನೆವರ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ವರ್ ಬೀಟನ್. ಬಟ್ ಪಾಪ ಅವರುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂಥರ ಸಂತೋಷ ಪಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡೋರು. ಸೊ ದೇ ವಾಸ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಫನ್. We had very little, but we were totally satisfied. We never used buses in Mysuru. We walked everywhere. My brother, who is now settled down in the US, he did his PhD from US, MA from Manas Gangotri. He used to walk from Vidyaranapuram to Manas Gangotri and come back. So anyway, I can go on and on, but I think I want to listen to
So before,
Srinath's.
Before, sir, I go to him, I have a quick follow-up question. You obviously get invited to many of these events, such events. How many times do you get a chance to go down the memory lane, just like what you did just now, and also talk in Kannada?
Opportunity to go down
To go down your memory lane, just a way, for example, recollecting your childhood,
No, in some way, my wife wanted to buy an old traditional Mysore house, and we bought it in 1995. Almost every time I come to Mysore.
Very nice. Okay.
Sir, first of all, my apologies for the delay. Train late ಆಯಿತು, ಮಳೆ ಬಂತು, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಯಿತು. ಬಟ್ ಐ ಡಿಡ್ ಮೈ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಸರ್. ಆನ್ ದ ವೇ ಕಾರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಶರ್ಟು ಪ್ಯಾಂಟು ಕೋಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡ್ರೈವರ್ ಒಬ್ರು ಇದ್ರು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೋಹನ್ ರಾಮ್ ಇದ್ದ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಅವರಿಬ್ರು ಕಣ್ಮುಚ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಆ ಕೆಲಸ. ಸೊ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಎ ಕ್ವಿಕ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಕಾರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ so anyway, I was told 6 o'clock would be the time that we would start. So my apologies to everybody for my delay in that. For me, I think Mysuru antandre eaglu I think for me there is no other place than Mysuru. Bangalore, I stay there symbolically, but Mysuru is the place for me. Typical middle class family, 4 children. And ಅವಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಐ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಸರ್. ನನಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಸಚ್ ದಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಐ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಐ ವಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಏನು ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದೇ ಥರ ನನಗೇನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಏನು ನಡೀತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮದು. ಸೊ ಐ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಇನ್ MC ಹಾಸನ್ 2 ವರ್ಷ. ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಐ ವೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಅವಿಲಾ ಕಾನ್ವೆಂಟ್, ದೆನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದೇರ್ ಮರಿವಲ ಪಾಸ್ ಹೈಸ್ಕೂಲ್. And from there, 2 ವರ್ಷ Hassan MCE, followed by JC for 2 years. Growing up days, we were the only sport that was played around us was cricket. There was nothing much. Maneli, the only condition was pass ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋ, cricket ಆಡು ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. So there was never a stop. They never tried to put a stop to my cricket or anything. Some of the things that I could have done better, some of the things that I could have done even more better. Cricket was always a passion and something that we loved. 83 commentary from 80, 81, 82, our time, that was the time when really cricket opened up in our minds. Commentary kelta idve, and whatever the commentary was said, and we used to have that imagination running in our minds. ಸೊ ಅದು ಯಾವ ಥರ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನೇಷನ್ ಏನೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಕಪಿಲ್ ದೇವ್ ಥರ ಓಡೋಗಿ ಬೋಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಇದೇ ಥರ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದ ಕಪಿಲ್ ದೇವ್ ಬೋಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ. ದೆನ್ ಟೆಲಿವಿಷನ್ ಕೇಮ್ ಇನ್, ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಎ ವಂಡರ್ಫುಲ್ introduction to India. Then we won 83 World Cup. I think that was probably a great culmination of cricket as well as television. So we all got a chance to see what cricket was all about. ಅವ್ರ ಇವ್ರ ಮನೆಗೆ ಟೆಲಿವಿಷನ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರೋದು. ನಮ್ಮನೆ ಎದುರುಗಡೆ ಮನೇಲಿ ಅರುಣ್ ಅಂತಿದ್ದ, ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ ಟೆಲಿವಿಷನ್ನ. ದ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎವರ್. ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಹೋಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಅವರ್ ಪ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಟಿವ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಅಂಡರ್ 19 ಆಡಬೇಕು, ಅಂಡರ್ 23 ಆಡಬೇಕು, ಇದು ಆಡಬೇಕು, ಅದಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಖುಷಿಯಾಗಿ ಹೋಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೈಸೂರು ಜಮಖಾನ ಕ್ಲಬ್ಬಲ್ಲಿ ಆಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟು. ನಮ್ಮ ಸುಬ್ರಹ್ಮಣ್ಯಂ ಸೆಕ್ರೆಟರಿ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈ ಗೈಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫಿಲಾಸಫರ್ ವಿ ಸಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಇವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಗೈಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಹೌ ವಿ ಕೇಮ್ ಅಪ್ ಇನ್ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್. ಓನ್ಲಿ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಇದನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನಾಗಿ ಆಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಬೈ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಸುಮಾರಾಗಿ ಆಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಅಂಡರ್ 23 ಅಂಡರ್ 19 ಆಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆದ್ವಿ, ಗುಡ್. ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಆಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್. ಅಂಡರ್ 23 ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆದ್ವಿ, ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಆಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ರಂಜಿ ಟ್ರಾಫಿ ಆಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ರಂಜಿ ಟ್ರಾಫಿ ಆಡಿದ್ವಿ ಬಿಡು ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಆಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ. ಇಂಡಿಯಾನೂ ಅದು ಆಗೋಯ್ತು. ಆವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟು ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ದಟ್ ಐಮ್ ಗೋನೋ ಮೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಎ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನ್ ಅಂತ. 1-2 ವರ್ಷ ಇದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪಾಠ ಕಲಿತೀವಿ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಟೀಮಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಆ ಪಾಠ ಕಲಿತಾಗ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ದಟ್ ರೆಸೊಲ್ಯೂಟ್ನೆಸ್, we come from various backgrounds, we come from various cultures. Nam culture is little soft and then we are basically, I would say, we don't take people head on. We just let people do what they want to do, and we go by, we give them the side and we allow them to do whatever we want. But slowly, I think, with great company of Anil Kumble, Venkatesh Prasad, Amel Banda, then we had Rahul Dravid and all of us. So we, in a way, some of us, started talking, and the language what we spoke was completely different to the others. We got together, some kind of professionalism anta onchuru bantu. Then I think we really held on to what we were representing, and then that's how the career spanned for nearly 10 to 12 years. So school days, college days ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಮಗೆ ಊಟ ತಿಂಡಿ ಸರ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಟೈಮ್ಗಿಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೆಟರ್. ಮನೇಲಿ ಮದುವೆ ಮನೆ ಊಟ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಫೇವ್ರೇಟ್ ಊಟ. ಆವಾಗಲೂ ಯಾರು ಮದುವೆಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರು ನಾವು ಆಟ ಆಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಹುಡುಗರೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾರ್ದೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ದಿರೋ ಮದುವೆಗೆಲ್ಲ ಊಟ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಚೇಷ್ಟೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಫನ್ ಸರ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಮೈ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಡೇಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಮೈ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಡೇಸ್. ಇದು ಮಹಾರಾಣೀಸ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ನಾನು. This is a brief account of my.
Very nice.
ಮಹಾರಾಣೀಸ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗಿನ 95%, ನಮಗೆ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೆ 35%, 40%. ಮಹಾರಾಣೀಸ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ರೆ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ.
Sir, both of you are brand in yourselves, to be honest. And then, of course, Mr. Narayana Murthy has built a globally recognizable brand as well. Coming from a city like Mysuru, which is still considered to be a tier 2 city, I'll start with you, Mr. Shrinath. How difficult or easy it was for you to be recognized coming from a smaller city? Is it easy when people say, okay, here is a kid who is playing gully cricket, and therefore it's a better chance of being noticed? Or is it tougher because there are, for example, selectors going to larger cities like Bangalore to look for talent?
When we never imagined that, as I said, I would never imagine that I would be playing Ranji Trophy, I would be playing Test cricket, I never imagined. But I think if somebody has talent and if you pursue it, nonchalantly, I think there is a way. Perhaps, I don't see a luck playing role in anybody's life. I'm completely against the philosophy of luck. You are here today because of whatever that you have done all throughout your life, and therefore you are sitting here today, and whatever the success that you have done is because of the hard work that you have put in, knowingly or unknowingly. For some people, I think hard work is part of their life. They don't see that as a hard work. So therefore, I think, it is, the more, I always believe that, rejection plays an important role, because when I went for selections for under 19 to Bangalore, it was a sole representation. Under 19 team, Karnataka team ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮೈಸೂರಿಂದ ಒಬ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನೀವು ಆಡ್ತೀಯೋ ಬಿಡ್ತೀಯೋ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ. That's a small town mentality versus big town, bullies. ಅದಿದ್ದೇ ಇತ್ತು ಅವಾಗ್ಲಿಂದನೂ. Maybe we would have done the same thing for Chamarajanagar here, or for Mandya or somebody else. So it's not saying that we were saintly and they were not anta. But I think if you play with a pure heart and if your mind is not transactional in terms of representing, ನಾನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನಾನು ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದರೆ I think you play the game better. There is no pressure on you. I think the day you start enjoying this game by bowling and that winning and that losing, there is pleasure in losing as well. ಗೆದ್ದಾಗ ಆ ಖುಷಿ ಆಗೋದು, these are the things that held our, we held the game together so closely. So irrespective, I still remember under 19 ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ, ವಾಪಸ್ ಬಂದೆ ನಾನು. ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂಥರ ಸಿಂಪತಿ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಬಂದು ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಪಾಪ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಇವನು, ಅದು ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಪಾಪ. ನಾನು ಐ ವಾಸ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಂಜಾಯಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಸುಬ್ರಹ್ಮಣ್ಯಂ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ರು, ಅವರೇ ನೆಟ್ ನಡೆಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಅವರಿದ್ದವರು ಹೋಗೋ ಪಾಪ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಏನೋ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೇಜಾರಾಯ್ತೇನೋ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಡು ಅಂತ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರು. ಆ ನೆಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಟಿಂಗ್ ಕಳಿಸೋದು ಭಾಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ವಿಷಯವಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಬೌಲರ್ಗೆ. ನಾನು ಬ್ಯಾಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಡಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸಿಂಗ್ ಮೈ ಡಿಸಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಅವಾಗ ಕರೆದು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಆಡಂಗಿದ್ರೆ ಗಂಭೀರವಾಗಿ ಆಡು, ಹೋಗಿ ಪ್ಯಾಡ್ ಕಟ್ಟು, ನೀನು ಏನಾರು ಅಂಡರ್ 19 ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಟೀಮ್ಗೆ ಬರಬೇಡ, ಜಾಗ ಖಾಲಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೊರಡಿಲ್ಲ ನೀನು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ those words, first of all we need to be receptive to such things, and number two is that it should come in a harsh way for us to understand. In those days I think I really thought over it and I said, hell with this representation, it doesn't really matter to me, let me go and enjoy this game. So when you enjoy the game, sir, GR ಬಂದರು, GR ವಿಶ್ವನಾಥ್ ಬಂದರು. ವಿ ಆರ್ ಪ್ಲೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಮೈಸೂರು ಝೋನ್ ವರ್ಸಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರು. ಅವತ್ತಿನ ದಿನ 6 ವಿಕೆಟ್ ಬಂತು. ಸೊ ದ ವೇ ವಿ ವೇರ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಈಚ್ ಅದರ್, ಮೈ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್, ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ, ಲಕ್ಕು ನಿಂಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಬಿಡ್ತು, ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದಾಗ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ನಿಂಗೆ 6 ವಿಕೆಟ್ ಬಂತು. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಲೋ ಆಗಿ, ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ when you are a little more matured, when you really think back, then you say, I think luck doesn't play a role at all in anybody's life. It's all about what we do and how we go about doing things, and that kind of accumulates and then that gives results over a period of time.
Thank you, Mrs. Murthy, sir. Your opinion about coming from a smaller town and building an enterprise and a brand of this magnitude, how easy or difficult it is. For example, it could be some people could say that it is easier to build a brand because you have better networking opportunities. Probably in a place like Mysore, you have better talent availability, etc. But then access to capital may be something which is very, very difficult. So what would you suggest to young dreamers and entrepreneurs, what coming out of Mysore, what they should or they should not be doing?
Well, I must admit that I left Mysore in 1967. I went to Kanpur, then I went to Ahmedabad, then I went to Paris, I came back to India, Pune, all of that. So it is not fair on my part to say that I graduated from a small city like Mysore to start Infosys. No, that's not correct. However, my personal view is there are 3 important requirements for success in any task. Any task. One is competence. Second is character. And third is commitment. If Shrinath has been very successful as a pace bowler, he had that wherewithal to bowl at that speed. Otherwise, he would not have been selected. There is no question. Not only that, he also had a good value system to put the interest of the team ahead of his personal interest, to get along with people, to demonstrate that his values are sound. That's character is very important, because people, if you want to work in a team, you have to build trust. And that trust comes from your actions which are guided by your values. And third is commitment. He worked very hard. It could not have happened to him unless he put in the required hours, unless he went beyond his call, all of that. So that's one. However, this is where I differ totally from Srinath, and that is, you need luck. I have seen so many people who are much, much smarter than me, but they didn't get to where I went. They were brighter. At IIT Kanpur, I saw so many fellows who were brighter. 13 companies were founded between 1979 and 1982. Only one reached to top whatever 5 in the country. That happened not because they were not working hard, they were not competent, not because they didn't have character. Somehow God smiled on us. So I am a firm believer that in addition to all the wonderful competencies that you have, good value system that you have, lot of hard work, lot of discipline, all of that, you need God to smile on you. That's why Louis Pasteur said, chance favors the prepared mind. So what that really means is, you have to do everything that Srinath said. You have to work hard. You have to be good in what you are doing. All of that. But in the end, that's what happened. I'll tell you, for example, I got 4th rank in SSLC for the state. The difference between mine and the first ranker was 6 marks. You know, I was answering and all of that. Somehow, I was trying to answer the last question. I just went into some kind of a dream or something. I don't know what happened. I knew the answer. It was not that I didn't know the answer. I just went into a reverie, a dream. And I lost whatever, those 6 marks of that question. That was not because I didn't know. But I ended up with 4th rank. I still remember when I went to my father to tell him that I got 4th rank. My mother was very encouraging, she was nice. My father had no time for me. He simply said, what happened to the other 3 ranks, man? That's all. He didn't spend a single second with me after that. And I went to my pre-university exam. And I got the 3rd rank for the university. At that time, there was only one university in entire Mysuru state, except Karnataka University in the north. There, I don't know what happened to me. I deliberately took a very tough question. There were chances. There were 12 questions and you had to answer 6 or 8, I don't remember. Somehow, God made me focus on the toughest one. And I focused. I tried to do it, I did it, but by the time I could not answer. And I lost, the 3rd rank was only 4 marks between 1st rank and 3rd rank. I lost. No, that was not because I didn't know. It was a judgment. And that judgment came from God. Right? Good, bad, all of those things happen. I personally feel because of God. There is a second reason why I believe in God. In fact, my nephew sitting here, he doesn't believe. So he and I have this discussion. I tell him that when you transcend the realm of logic, that's when you enter the realm of faith. And faith is what drives peace of mind for every human being. You have faith in your wife. At least when you were young, right? I have faith in my wife. I had my faith in my wife. She had faith in me. I used to travel, 70, 80 times a year abroad. But she had faith in me that I would be faithful to her. There was no logic. Similarly, the children have faith in their parents' words. When one of the children is not well, the father and mother says, "Don't worry, children, he or she will be all right." When you go to a doctor, what sustains you is not the medicine, it is the faith. And all that faith can come into play only when you believe in faith, when you believe in God, when you believe in all this. And that also helps you realize your humility. If you do not believe in somebody higher than you, my brother-in-law is a professor, a well-known professor of physics in the US at Caltech. He's like my nephew, he doesn't believe. But I tell him, someday you will believe. Someday you will believe. So I personally believe that in addition to character, competence and commitment, you also need faith. Sorry, I took a little bit of time.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, I believe in God, sir. I am a firm believer of God in my own way. ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಲಕ್ ವಿಷಯ, I would say, sir, there are a lot of people who were better than me when I was playing and they couldn't make it. The path they choose was different. They somewhere down the line they tripped, they didn't believe in themselves. And I think sometimes a lot of bad things happen to good people too. Not necessarily the good things should happen to good people in life. So that's where my luck comes into picture. No matter how good you are in terms of value practice, no matter how good you are, but still there is no divine intervention. So if luck is one factor, then we are really, in my opinion, that ಕಾಯ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೂತಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಸರ್, ಲಕ್ ಅಂತ ಅದು ಆಗ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ. As you said, I think competence, ಆ ಟ್ಯಾಲೆಂಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ರೆ, and then also leave it to the fate to some extent, that you do your best and then see what happens ಅಂತ. So ಅದಾದ್ರೆ ಆಯ್ತು.
No, let me tell you a small story. I hope you people don't mind this. This is apocryphal. This is not a real thing. I believe there was a pujari in a small village. His house was short distance on the same road from the temple. And this pujari was very poor, hardly able to to eat 2 meals a day. So then I believe Narada went to Vishnu and said, "What man, you claim you are the Lord of this world, ಹಾಗೆ ಏನೇನೋ ಹೇಳ್ಕೋತೀಯ ನೀನು. ಅವನು ಪಾಪ ಪ್ರತಿ ದಿವಸನೂ ನಿನ್ನ ಪೂಜೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಬಂದು ಟೆಂಪಲ್ಗೆ. ಅವನಿಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ನೀ ಕಷ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀಯಾ?" ಸೊ ವಿಷ್ಣು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನಂತೆ, ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ಅವನಿಗೆ ಲಕ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನಾರದ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಏನಿದೆಲ್ಲ ತರಲೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀಯ ನೀನು, ಲಕ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಇದು ಅಂತ. ನೀನು ವಿಷ್ಣು, ಯು ಆರ್ ದಿ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್, ನೀನೇ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಅವನು ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ, ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ನಾಳೆ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನೀನು ನಾನು ಇಬ್ರು ನೋಡೋಣ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಿನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ next day morning, Vishnu kept a huge basket full of gold coins right in the middle of the road that he would be passing. So Vishnu says, ನೋಡು, ಇವನಿಗೆ ದಕ್ಕಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಇವನಿಗೆ ಲಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಕೂಡ ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾನೆ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣ, ಅವನು ಅಂತಾನೆ ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ, ಏನಬ್ಬ, ನಾನು ಈ ರೋಡಲ್ಲಿ 25-30 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದನೂ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಇವತ್ತು ನಾನು ಕಣ್ಣು ಮುಚ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಫುಟ್ಪಾತ್ ಇಂದ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಕಣ್ಣು ಮುಚ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಫುಟ್ಪಾತ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಅವ್ನು ಕಣ್ಣು ಮುಚ್ಕೊಂಡು ಈ ಕಡೆ ಫುಟ್ಪಾತ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಇವನು ಇಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಎಡವತ್ತು ಬಿದ್ದು ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ, ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ, ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಅಪೋಕ್ರಿಫಲ್, ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ರಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಟೋರೀಸ್, ಬಟ್ I still believe that, as Louis Pasteur said, chance favors the prepared mind. So we need all of this, and we also have to remember that we have to be humble. So if you want to be humble, then it is a good idea to say that I have faith in some Almighty, some power which I can't explain, and I am also the recipient of luck. That's the way I.
So both of you mentioned that you believe in God, and you have faith in something, right? So, and this is open to both of you and whoever can take it first. Do you believe that belief or the faith that you have in whatever Almighty that you believe in is the one that has allowed you to negotiate some of the, as they say, curveball in life? Tough challenges that you might have encountered, whether on the field or off the field during your selection, or sir, when you're running a business, when you have had challenges, etc. Does faith help you in negotiating those curveballs?
Oh, sir, I have gone through every step of understanding God, sir. ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ವಿಕೆಟ್ ಬರಲಿ, ರನ್ ಬರಲಿ, ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಗೆಲ್ಲಿ, ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಬರಲಿ, ಈಸಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಬರಲಿ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ದೇವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ. ಐ ಮೀನ್ ದಟ್ಸ್ ದ ವೇ ವಿ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್ ಗಾಡ್ ಅಟ್ ಎ ವೆರಿ ಯಂಗ್ ಏಜ್. ನಾರಾಯಣ ಮೂರ್ತಿಗಳು ಈಗ ತಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಅದೇನೋ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಡ್ರೀಮ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು 6 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಹೋಯ್ತು ಅಂತ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಐ ಸಿ ಎ ಕಾಮನ್ ಸಿಮಿಲಾರಿಟೀಸ್ ಇಯರ್. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಬರೀ 6 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು, ನಮ್ಗೆ 65 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ನನಗೆ ಪ್ರತಿ ಸಲ. ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್, ಬಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಪೇಜ್ ಮೋರ್ ಆರ್ ಲೆಸ್. I think belief in God, and that is probably the culture that we have grown in. I mean, ನಾವು ಶಂಕರ ಮಠಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿರೋಷ್ಟು ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಈಗಲೂ ಸುತ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. I think by the end of the day, I think when you resign to fate, and that is exactly where you go and knock at the doors of God. I think now probably my understanding of God is different. It is much more evolved. Advaita Veda, ಅದು ಇದು ಏನೋ ಒಂಚೂರು ಅರ್ಧಂಬರ್ಧ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. It is by the end of the day, whether you are whatever that you want to do, whatever you want to aspire for, or whatever the way you want your life to go by, whether it is right or wrong, then you go to the God and then you seek some kind of solace. So I think that's a wonderful religion that we are all attached to. I'm tremendously religious in that sense. Come what may, I think whether it is success or not, materialistic prashne allado. It's about mind, the way your mind plays up sometimes. By the end of the day, or ದೇವ್ರ ಮುಂದೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು whatever ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗೋದು ಮಾಡೋದು, I think it prepares you in a way. I think for me, going to the temple also, that was part of my preparation. ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಾರೆ ಇವತ್ತು 2 ವಿಕೆಟ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರಸಾದ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾರಿಗಾರು ಒಬ್ರು ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾರೆ, ಅನಿಲ್ಗೋ ರಾಹುಲ್ಗೂ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಬಿದ್ದೋಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿನಗೆ ಎಡ್ಜ್ ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಓವರಲ್ಲಿ, ಈ ಥರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ರೇಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. I think faith and belief is probably one of the best things that what we could go through in our life. I think we are grown up in a tremendous culture, especially Mysuru beladre, you can't miss out on that one.
I think, as I said, right, as I said earlier, when logic fails, that's when you enter the realm of faith.
If you start believing that bad things can happen to good people, that is more or less when the logic fails.
Well, I think that, also when you have faith in God, it also means that you have to follow the principles that scriptures have told us for ages. You have to be ethical, you should not have malice towards others to the extent possible. All of those things are required. Now, therefore, when you enter a hospital, I'll give you a beautiful example of this faith. See, we were, my wife, myself, and my 2 children. At that time, Akshita was about 7 years, and Rohan was 4 years. We were going to Mantralaya in our car, and there were 2 drivers in the front and 4 of us in the back, all of that. ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರುವಾಗ ದಾರಿಲಿ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಪೆಟ್ಟಿಕೊಂಡ ಅನ್ನುವಂತ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಊರು ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮಗು, ಇಟ್ ಕೇಮ್ ಆನ್ ಟು ದ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ರೋಡ್. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಬೈಪಾಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಲ್ಲ. ವಿತ್ ದ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸೋ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಡ್ರೈವರ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಸೋ ಡೇಂಜರಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಸ್. ಪಾಪ ನಮ್ಮ ಡ್ರೈವರು ಅವನು ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಬಂದ. Child came back and child got hit. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು 160 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಂದ ನಾವು ತಕ್ಷಣ ಆ ಮಗುನ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಂದು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಅವರ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸು ಅಂಕಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಂದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾರ್ ಅರೇಂಜ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ವಿ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಾರ್ ಅರೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಬಂದ್ವಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ನಿಮ್ಹಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದೇ ರೆಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಅಡ್ಮಿಟ್ ದ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್. ದೇ ಸೆಡ್ ಇದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ನಮಗೆ ಕೆಟ್ಟ ಹೆಸರು ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಫೋರ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಅಡ್ಮಿಟ್ ದ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್. 1988 or 87. What do we do when the doctors themselves say, no, we will not admit? There used to be a private hospital called Vignan Hospital. It may be there even now, I don't know. I think it is there. So now our hoge, literally, we were at their feet saying, Dayavitu ee maguna admit ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, do your best, ಏನು ಖರ್ಚಾಗಲಿ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಕೋತೀವಿ. ಅವರು ಪಾಪ they were very kind, very, very kind. 41 ದಿವಸ ಪ್ರತಿ ದಿವಸನೂ ನಾವು ಮನೇಲಿ, ನಾವು 4 ಜನನು, ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳು, ನಾವು ರೋಹನ್ 4 ವರ್ಷ, ಅಕ್ಷತಾ 7 ವರ್ಷ, ಸುಧಾ ನಾನು ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿ ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಮಗುನ ನೋಡೋದು. ಕಣ್ಣು ತೆಗೆದಿಲ್ಲ, ಕಣ್ಣು ತೆಗೆದಿಲ್ಲ, ಕಣ್ಣು ತೆಗೆದಿಲ್ಲ. 41ನೇ ದಿವಸ the child opened its eyes. I can't explain what happened. I can't explain. And I don't even want to explain because it's too complicated. 50th day, the child got up and walked around. Village child. And 60th day, that child, her parents, her relatives, they all came to Infosys. We hosted a lunch for them and all of that. Now, during those 50 days, there was no logic that gave me strength. No logic. It was purely my faith, my wife's faith, my children's faith. So, I think faith does. Second example I'll tell you. In 1999, we became the first Indian company to be listed on NASDAQ. ನಾನು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಲೀಗ್ ಮೋಹನ್ ಪಾಯ್ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇನಾಮ್ನವರು ವಲ್ಲಭ್ ಬನ್ಸಾಲಿ 3 ಜನ USA ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ನಂದನ್ನು ಬಾಲ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಏಷ್ಯಾ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಡೇ ಸ್ಯಾನ್ ಫ್ರಾನ್ಸಿಸ್ಕೋಲೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಆಯಿತು. ನನಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಪೇನ್ ಇತ್ತು ಇನ್ ದ ಟೂತ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ I didn't do a good job. They were actually disappointed with me. ಏನು ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ he will probably screw up. They expressed it to my colleagues. But somehow they had a lot of faith in me. First day was in Toronto. Sunday Toronto reach ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. I went to a hardware store. I bought a cutting player. Next morning 7:30 ನಾವು ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರತಿ ದಿವಸನೂ 14 ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ಸ್, ನಾಟ್ 1, 14 ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್. ನಾನು ವೆಜಿಟೇರಿಯನ್ನು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೂ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ. ಅದು particularly with these investors and all of the big people, ಏನೂ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ. So anyway, that night 2:00 it was unbearable pain. I prayed and I pulled out the tooth. I had read that I may lose my eyes, I may lose my hearing because they're all connected. I said, I don't want to let down my company. I prayed and said, God, give me strength. And I pulled it out. For about 10 minutes, I lost my sight. Yenu kaanislilla. ಆಮೇಲೆ I don't know what happened. I can't explain. About an hour, it all became clear. I slept very well. And 7:30 when I walked in for breakfast with Mohan and Vallabh, I was smiling. And they got surprised. And they very gently asked, will you be able to do a good presentation? They didn't know that my thing was, I had a painful tooth. I said, don't worry, I will do it. And I did very good presentations, the rest of the thing. The point I'm making is, the ability to put the cutting plier to your tooth and pull it out, that courage, I don't think any human being could have given me. Not my parents, not my wife, nothing. I think it was somehow my faith that gave me that. So I think faith is very, very important. But as Srinath pointed out, Faith alone, if I have faith and then I start killing everybody, like some, like these World Trade Center fellows did, that is not, to me, that's not faith. That is bad faith. So, I personally feel that faith takes over when all logic fails. And that is what gives you the strength to take the next step. Your legs will be saying, for example, when he is bowling, he would have bowled probably 25 overs. For the 26th over, his legs will say, no, I can't do it. But it is his faith that, which translates to willpower, obviously, that gives him the strength to bowl that ball at whatever, 140 kilometers per hour. So I don't know, I believe, I'm an old man, I'm 77, maybe I'm wrong, maybe, I'm not as modern as most of you, but it serves me very well and I'm very happy.
I think I can draw parallels to what he says. Basically, even in cricket, you are never 100% fit on the field. The day you are 100% fit, your ball will be going all over the places. You need to have some pain. Either your back is paining, or your glutes are paining, your knees are giving up, your shoulder is hurting a bit. I think that probably makes you a little more cautious, and then you kind of manage it. So a little bit of pain is good in life.
I'll actually pick.
No, but
yes, sir.
it's very important. I think what Srinath said is very important. Faith does not mean that you don't do whatever is necessary to be done. Karmanyadhikarastha. That is very, very important. What Bhagavad Gita says is, your right is, or your duty is, to do the best that you can. But the result of that action is beyond you, is up there. And that's where faith becomes very important. For example, when he has bowled so many batsmen, it is a combination of various things. Somehow that batsman on that ball just could not fathom. There is no logic. There is really no thing that I will bowl the next ball the same way and I will take him out. I don't know if Srinath can say that. So it's
ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಬಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬಂತು ಸರ್. ನೀವು ಎಂಡೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಅದು, ಅವಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಒಂದೇ ಲೈನ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ವಿಕೆಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂಚೂರು ಬಂತು.
Actually, I want to pick up on that particular question or answer that you just mentioned. But before that, if we have, sir, 15 more minutes with you, I would like. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. For 10 more minutes. So I just want to open it up for a couple of questions from the audience before I go through couple of other things that I have noted down. Just 2 questions, please, considering the amount of time that we have with these gentlemen.
I have a principle that it should be 50% for women, 50% for men, and the first should be by a woman.
Okay. All right. So with that guideline and rule in place, we have the first lady to ask a question, please.
ಸರ್, ತುಂಬ ಖುಷಿ ಆಯಿತು ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದು. ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪ್ರೆಸಿವ್. ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಅಂತ ಭಾಳ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೀನ್ ದ ಚೇಂಜ್ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬ್ರಾಟ್ ಇನ್. And I run a farm to pack venture. I now practice farming, and I've also developed a venture called as Belly the Farmer. ಪ್ರತಿ ಸತಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಇನ್ಕ್ಯುಬೇಷನಲ್ಲೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, bring in technology. So what do you have to say, sir? How, what are the ideas that, what are the shortcomings that we have to find in the farming life that can be supported by technology?
So what are the shortcomings? Can we say that again? Just ask me the question.
Okay, I have improvised farm to pack, wherein my spice, that is, once it is harvested till it is packed, I've reduced the cycle time by 55%.
Yeah.
Okay, and I see that that's the biggest value proposition that I can offer to my customers. Primarily started off with D2C, but then now B2B is my concentration because that is my inventory. Whenever I go into a big set of investors, they asking, why can't you bring in technology? So since you come from the technology background, so
No, I'll tell you, if I may suggest to you, you will have to translate value to always money. That is the only thing that you will understand, I will understand, doctor will understand, lawyer will understand, everybody will understand. So instead of saying that 55%, if you were to tell your B2B customers that because of my idea, don't bother about technology and all, what technology you use, nobody cares. If you were to say that because of my idea, I will be able to reduce your cost of 150 rupees that you are spending on this today to whatever 70 rupees or 65. Then you and your customers are on an even platform. The customer will understand, you will understand. So please, the whole mathematical model that I was talking about, it was very difficult even at Infosys. Lot of employees couldn't even do this. I mean, they would say, no, we will reduce inventory by this, we will reduce cycle time by this. I said, no, don't talk about all those. Just reduce everything to rupees and paise. That's my advice to you.
okay, thank you.
Before the next question is taken, I just want to, explain to technology something I want to probably tell you. Way back in 1993, 94, 95, we were struggling to understand where we were going wrong in the sport. Why are we going down the leg side? Why is that we are losing? There was no proper strategy. There was no proper dissection of where we went wrong, and so on and so forth. So I found a nice company where all my friends were working, Phoenix Global Solutions anta, Bangalore Nalli. So they were able to put up a decent system. I'm talking about 1999. Now what this system did earlier, they used to maximum at most, our coach used to give us a tape and then say VHS tape, ಹೋಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ನೀವು ಅಂತ. ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ನೋಡೋದು. ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಲೆಬೋರಿಯಸ್. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು, ದೇರ್ ವಾಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಮಚ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಕುಡ್ ಅಚೀವ್. Then this company came forward and said, no, we can probably tag each and every ball, and then we'll have a query screen and we can retrieve what you want, so that becomes more meaningful. It's a simple thing when the idea is spoken, but how do we implement it? Now this company did a wonderful job. They nearly spent agin kaldalli about 1 crore of rupees to get this up and going. So ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ನಾರಾಯಣ ಮೂರ್ತಿಗಳ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸರ್ ಈ ಥರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. So by the end of it, we have got the buy-in from the VCCI, and we don't want people to ridicule it. So ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಲಾಸ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಎಂಡೋರ್ಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಕೇಳಿದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇವರಿದ್ದವರು, ನಾನು ಎಂಡೋರ್ಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ದಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ, ಬಟ್ ನನಗೆ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಸಿ ದ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಬಿಕೇಮ್ ಎ ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್. ಈಗ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮಗ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ದಟ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ವರ್ಕ್. ಸೊ ವಿ ರಿಯಲಿ ವರ್ಕ್ಡ್ ಹಾರ್ಡ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ 99, 2000 ದೆನ್ ಫೈನಲಿ ದ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ವಾಸ್ functioning. So we went to his house, and then he asked us, show us Sachin Tendulkar playing all the shots on the offside. And thankfully, that was Pentium days. The picture card was almost this big, and it was such a rugged and not very ugly looking system what we had, and blue screen agogodu avagavaga. So we used to put a fan behind it and manage all those things. So finally adana tagobandu we showed it to him, and fortunately those 10 to 12 clips came one after the other, and we were really happy to see the system working. Adadmele we had to present it to the world, basically saying that we were the first one actually in the world to start that kind of a system. Now you see people in the dugouts with the system. That's exactly what they will be doing. They will be tagging every ball. So adadmele we finished the product, went to him, and ನಮ್ಮ ನಾರಾಯಣ ಮೂರ್ತಿಗಳು ಒಂದು 5 ನಿಮಿಷ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರು. That was like, an absolute endorsement, so that nobody ridicules it, number one. Number two, people who could not understand, they just kept their mouth shut because Narayana Murthy ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, so ಯಾರು ಏನು ಮಾತಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. And he captured that so beautifully. So we showed this presentation to the media and all of them, and in the end we ran his 5 minutes audio video where he captured everything. In fact, ನೀವು ಪ್ರಹ್ಲಾದ್ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಮ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ he was more or less in the same ಇದು ಅಂತ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. So that was the first time we technology was introduced, and once he said ನಮ್ಮ BCC ನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ತರ ಜನಗಳು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ನೋಡಿದವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ the first thing is ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾಕೆ ವೇಸ್ಟ್, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ everything stopped. That was very, very crucial at that point in time to get an endorsement, and people started thinking. Even Sachin our time alli, iದೇನು computer, what will computer teach us? We are not ready to accept what computer says. But until and unless in 2003, 2004 alli, every match he used to go by the CD, ರೂಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಕಾಲು, ಹೆಂಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಕೈ, ವೆದರ್ he is loose or whether he is too stiff. That kind of the contribution what we saw from Narayana Murthy, that was invaluable, sir. Thank you very much for that. And that is still, that was so important at that particular point in time. Second, when I was the secretary of KSCA, ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ನಾನು ಟ್ರೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ನಾರಾಯಣ ಮೂರ್ತಿಗಳು ಸುಧಾಮೂರ್ತಿಗಳು ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಕೂತಿದ್ರು. ನಾನು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು I tried to explain what the academy that we envisage and how we want to come up. ಪಾಪ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟಾಗಿ, ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ನನ್ನ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಒಂದು 25-30 ಲಕ್ಷ I can give it for diet. ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಡಯಟ್ಗೆ ರೂರಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, I am ready to give this 25 to 30 lakhs of rupees ಅಂತ ಪಾಪ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟಾಗಿ ಒಂದು 10 ನಿಮಿಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ನಾನು ಅಂದೆ, ಸರ್ ನಾನು ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ, KCA had a lot of funds, that's different. But just to get an endorsement of Narayana Murthyಗಳು, ಹೌದು ಇದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್, ಇದು ನೀವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, we need to look up to such people, and that's exactly what I used to do. Even when I finished my cricketing career in 2003, I went up to him and I said, sir, ನಾನು ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, 26, ನನಗಿನ್ನೂ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಮುಂದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ್ಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಅವ್ರ ಆಫೀಸಲ್ಲಿ ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಅವಾಗ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಇನ್ನೂ 26 ವರ್ಷ ಇದೆ, how would you want to spend your time? ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? Why don't you go to US and do a master degree ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬನ್ನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ನಾನು ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಸರ್, GMAT ಎಲ್ಲ ತೊಗೊಂಡೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ. However, ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾನ್ಫರ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ there was one guy called Ferguson, and he said, look, your marks is not important, but we need to see your placement of your masters and then see where you stand in the market. So we had a good ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ರಂಜನ್ ಅಂತ ಒಬ್ರು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಅವರಿಬ್ರು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು we almost did 20-25 days of work. They said, if you want to go back to software industry post this, it really, you are starting from the scratch, ಅದೇನು ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. So then again we thought about sports ಅಲ್ಲಿ they said India is still amateurish. ಇನ್ನೂ it is still amateurish, I would say. Professionalism ಇನ್ನೂ ಅಷ್ಟು ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ, although we have IPL and all of it, but it is in its own way, it's professional. Of course, IPL is a wonderful product, that is different. So there I really didn't find enough strength to say that I need to do my MBA anta. But having gone through 3 years of KSCA, sir, ಅದು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾನ್ಫರ್ಡಲ್ಲೂ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ, ಹಾರ್ವರ್ಡಲ್ಲೂ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಅದು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಠ ಕಲ್ತ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ.
Thank you. Sir, respecting his availability and his request to wind up at 7:20, I'm afraid we'll have to cut short the audience question. One last question, however, to both of you, sir. Parting question is, or unless you're ready to take one more question from the audience. Okay, please. Mahesh, can we get a mic, please? Thanks.
ಸರ್, ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಅಶ್ವಿನಿ ರಂಜನ್ ಅಂತ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಎ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ a middle class family, but with great aspirations. Recently, my son, who is also a product of NIE, acquired an American company called Schaefer. And that was a big decision for us. A decision which could make or break our entire standing in society. And you believe it or not, when he came and asked me, can we take up this huge challenge? I said, we are not the first. There are others who established a footprint on the city. And I quoted the example of Infosys. And whatever, maybe we don't exist in your, we may not exist at all, and you may not know about us. But the legacy people leave also becomes a prop to future generations. So if my son has acquired a American company and become the first MNC in Mysuru, somewhere the legacy that Infosys has established helped us to take that big decision. And today, he is returning from the US. And he went to sign the deal, and now he's coming back. And I can proudly say that we own an American company, and we want to make that brand in India, which I believe is a big challenge to us.
Well, I think you are very, very kind, absolutely kind. You know, in 2000, I said, look, my father retired at 55. I said, I also want to leave my CEO position at 55. Before that, I want to do something for this city of Mysuru, which is such a wonderful thing. So we built the Global Education Center. It is about 400 acres. There are about 13,000 employees there. It is 11 million square feet. It's the world's largest corporate training facility. And I'm glad that if that has indeed resulted in raising the aspiration of some youngsters, I think that's the greatest tribute that those youngsters can pay for this idea. Thank you.
Sorry, sir, I have to respect his request. I'm sorry, sir. So one last, not a question really, your advice for TiE Mysuru as parting thoughts from both of you. So what do you think we at TiE Mysuru should be doing to encourage the entrepreneurship, etc., in the city of Mysuru?
No, I think in some way it is the major role of these organizations is to enhance the aspiration, the confidence, hope, energy, and enthusiasm of the would-be entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. Now that happens if you bring people who have had some success as entrepreneurs, but who they can relate to very easily. You know, in fact, once one of the channels asked me, what is the biggest contribution of Infosys? I said, you know, we demonstrated that if these 7 jokers can do, we also can do. I think in some sense, I used a little bit strong set of words there, but
What you need to do is to bring people who are down to earth, who are humble, who are like the rest of the people, and then hold interactions with them. Then I think, and also show some films of the success of various entrepreneurs in India and outside. Plus some management lessons on managing access to market, managing access to talent, managing access to finance, etc., from experts who can communicate those ideas in simple sentences and not complex sentences. I think the confidence of people will raise. Third, you must hold some workshops on how these entrepreneurs can express the power of their idea in a simple sentence, not a complex sentence, not a compound sentence. The beauty of expressing the idea, the power of the idea and the differentiated business value in a simple sentence is you can explain it to others, you can explain to customers, you can explain to attract talent, you can explain it to investors. And once you have explained it in a simple sentence, because others have understood it, they will be in a position to improve the idea. And you yourself, the entrepreneurs themselves will find perhaps there was some mistake and they will improve. But this is not an easy task. This is not an easy task because we Indians are very poor in English. Somehow there is an attempt being made that English should be suppressed and all of that. But the reality is the amount of knowledge and expertise that is available in English is of a different order. It's in a different orbit. So if you can kindly find a few people who can take some examples of how to express ideas in a simple sentence. Take the ideas from the entrepreneurs themselves and on the board convert them into simple ideas. Demonstrate how there is differentiated business value. I think it will help. But the most important thing is you must do a simple, inexpensive test marketing of your idea. Because if the worth of your idea will be validated only in the market, only when somebody is willing to pay money and buy your product or service. Otherwise, it has no value, zero value. So, conducting a simple, inexpensive test marketing exercise to assess the market is the most important thing. Second, accessing good talent is the second most important requirement because talent is scarce today. Good talent is very, very scarce. And third, finance and all will come. Finance is not a big deal. If you have a good idea, if you have conducted a simple test marketing exercise, if you have in some way identified a few smart, value-based people to be part of your team, then rest is all simple.
Thank you, sir.
ನಾರಾಯಣ ಮೂರ್ತಿ ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಭಾಳ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ. ಬಟ್ ಐ ವುಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಟು ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಮೈ ಡ್ಯಾಡ್ಸ್ ಲೈಫ್. We used to have a small Sigepudi factory, and I still remember a day when my mother was cribbing. It's natural, saying that one mane katlilla, maadlilla, ಏನು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಅವಾಗ ಮೈ ಫಾದರ್ ಸೆಡ್ ಒನ್ ಡೇ ದಟ್ ಲುಕ್, ನನ್ನ ನಂಬ್ಕೊಂಡು 30 ಜನ ಊಟ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, 30 ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಬೇಕು ಬಿಡು ಅಂತ. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್. ಆಲ್ ಆಂಟ್ರಪ್ರಿನರ್ಸ್, ನಮ್ಮ ನಾರಾಯಣಮೂರ್ತಿಗಳಂತೂ ಲಕ್ಷಾಂತರ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಆಸ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಆಸ್ ದಿ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯ್ ಪೀಪಲ್, I think that's the most benevolent thing that anybody could do. It is beyond you, basically, when you employ people, when you take up the responsibility. I'm sure you are doing it and you'll do it. The man is sitting here who has really opened this whole thing for the world, how to employ people and how to harness talent. That's exactly what he has done. From the sports point of view, I would say, we will have tough times in sports. We will have, we had match fixing going on in sports. We had all of it. But I think, the value system, what we have seen directly or indirectly from the people around, people like you, when we interact, when we talk, hearing, those days, a clip of Narayana Murthy coming on television was a big thing. I mean, the whole emphasis was built on value systems. I think all these things add up. Maybe there were offers to us which we didn't even know. We didn't even understand those offers. And they will never come to such, people like us to make such dirty offers. So I think, value systems are so important, which he always endorses. For any walk of life, I think we need to be ethical, like what he says. When I ran the association for 3 years at the age of 42, we were told that, your reputations will be, they will stamp your reputation, they will go after you, they will say that you made money, they will say that, you had money. I think that's besides the point. I think we should not be worried about your reputation as long as we're able to do a good job for the society. I think thinking about the society to some extent at some stage of your life is also good. Anil and I think we took a dip into this public life. I think I would say there was plenty of learning that happened. The way we need to handle people, your true friends, your true buddies, you will get to know who is who of the society when you do that. That was a wonderful experience, I would say. A lot of brickbats, that is fine, but I think that's the way we grow stronger in life. So these are my 2 things.
Thank you very much. We could be sitting here for next 2, 3, 4 hours listening to both of you, and I'm sure it will still not be enough for us in terms of all the encouragement and all the thoughts that you share with us. It's been my great honor and privilege to be sharing the dais with you and talking to both of you, sirs. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much again on behalf of TiE Mysuru for coming us and gracing this occasion. I think this session will be remembered by many of us for a very long time to come. Thank you very much, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I expect you for a standing ovation for both? So, before we go for the next, I request all of you to kindly be seated. There are 2 big announcements to be made. I'll keep it short to be brought to the note, be explained by the members of TiE here. Before that, I request Pawan Ranga sir to please come onto the dais to hand over the token of appreciation to Narayana Murthy sir. A big to Shri Narayana Murthy sir. We have the moment from TiE Mysuru and also a small token of gesture from Belly the farmer for our beloved guest. I request Mr. Achyuta Bachadi sir to come on to the dais to hand over the token of appreciation to Mr. Javagal Shrinath. Onto the dais, sir, please. One more big round of applause to the gentleman who represented India and tipped Mysore name. We'll be having Javagal Shrinath sir on the dais. We still have 2 big announcements to be made in front of you, sir. So due to his occupancies, Sir is taking off. To all the people gathered here, everybody is aware of TiE Mysuru now. The TiE Mysuru installed in 2019 under the able leadership of Sid Mukherjee, Sanjay Srinivas Murthy sir, Pawan Ranga sir, and many more. Along with that, TiE University is one big thing wherein the entire global level we are going with. So TiE University is an exciting program to empower college startups with the mentoring and coaching from serial entrepreneurs and charter members in our local and global network. As we can see, the house is full. The TiE Mysuru is also full with all its achievements now. Now I request Dr. Mahesh Rao, CEO of Asha Design Solutions and charter member TiE Mysuru, to announce the achievement made during the year 2021-22.
TiE Mysuru in year 2021-22 and also in 2021 was adjudged one of the best TiE University chapters, upcoming chapters. And the last year, the amount of work which we did, all of that was chronicled, and all of that was a data-driven decision. So here you see a wonderful recognition for us, for all of our members and all of our people who contributed to this, about the mentoring, the networking, and the various other things which we did. Thank you so much. Without your support, we wouldn't have been able to. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Indeed, a big round of applause is here to all the charter members, board members. Special thanks to Mr. Shiv Shankar B, Chief Executive SJC STEP, Dr. Mahesh Rao, and not to forget Mr. Mahesh Katale, Executive Director, TiE Mysuru, as well as Adarshan team from Inside Out for their contribution in getting this TiE University program to the next level. As sir was mentioning about 50% for male and 50% for female during the questionnaire, there is one particular statistics wherein I just wanted to put it on to this particular forum. 10% of the Indian startup unicorns are women-led. 20.37% of women are MSME owners. That accounts for about 23.30% of labor force. Women-led startups have provided 35% higher return on investment compared to those of men-led, and about 10 to 15% of tech startups have at least one woman as founder or co-founder. Isn't it amazing to hear these statistics? Now, this is where the India is heading towards. We from TiE Mysuru have some big announcement to be made, and who else could be the better person than Sri Lakshmi Madam? I request Sri Lakshmi Madam, CEO and co-founder, Rifes Pharmaceuticals Private Limited, to brief us about the event.
Everybody, I think I don't need to really say anything motivating after hearing the two stalwarts that we heard for last 1 hour. After hearing them, the motivation increased, at least for me, and I'm very sure that the women entrepreneurs in this particular room, or your better halves who are in the house, or your friends who are women and are looking for something to be different, not just into microfinancing, jewelry and dresses, but into deep techs and different areas, manufacturing and software making. I'm very sure you guys go back home and you are going to motivate them. Thank you so much, TiE. TiE Mysuru happens to be the youngest chapter, but has been delivering beyond its expectation. And one such thing that we are bringing on table, which we did last year and again this year, is to challenge ourselves beyond making morning coffee and evening masru, to make sure that we women actually come up and see that we can also run businesses with the same passion. I invite all of you, whether women or men out here, to please go out there and spread the word that TiE Mysuru is fostering women entrepreneurship in the same way as any other chapter would do. We would request you to apply for the Pitch Fest. which not only delivers in this year especially, we have done it into 3 different buckets, wherein we are saying if you are just in ideation stage, that is a whole different group. If you are already a stage where you are in MSME, that is a whole different group. And if you are already there making some few crores and for some few zeros, we help you to scale it up. 3 different units, 3 different set of prices, 3 different type of mentorship, network, and especially access to market. Just as Shri Narayana Murthy sir said, access to finance, access to education, where else you can get better, but from a global platform called TiE. So here we are announcing for a TiE Women Pitch Fest, and I request you all to take this message back home, and few women whom I see here, let us see what better can we do than what we are doing right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, madam. This is what I meant, who would be better than Sri Lakshmi madam to express about the Women Pitch Fest to the audience here. Before I just call up Sabrishan sir, Javagal Shrinath sir, proud to be a student in 2005-06 when I was one among the person who got selected to MRF Space Foundation from Mysuru. Advance birthday wishes since he's celebrating his birthday on 31st of this month. I would have wished even Narayana Murthy sir, who celebrated his birthday on 20th of August, and Sudha madam 19th of August. But nevertheless, now I request Mr. Sabrishan CK, Independent Director, BPL Limited, and Charter Member, TiE Mysuru, to deliver the closing remarks and vote of thanks.
Very good evening, all of you. I was trying to figure out how to describe today's experience that we all went through. I couldn't find the right phrase. Then I thought, I've heard of this double whammy, which means the negative of good experience. So what is the opposite of double whammy? And that is a stroke of luck or purple patch. And that is exactly what we felt through. But the flip side of that is, we were so carried away by the sharing of experience, I forgot to note down some important points also. So you'll have to bear with me because most of you know them so well. I will probably share with you what I remember hearing them, and some of which I have noted. But before that, since you have no time constraint, I suppose, Srinath, so I will probably ask him to relive some of the moments of his defining moments in cricket. One thing I remember when ODI was gaining popularity, and I think it was Sanath Jayasuriya and Kalivitharana, who really came out blasting across in the 15 overs, 100 runs. And I remember you had a trap set for him in I think it was 1996 Calcutta match, if I remember right. How did you do that?
Narayana Murthy ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಕೆಲವು ಸಲ ಲಕ್ ಅದು ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಬಟ್ we wanted to those days team meetings weren't like the way it is now, where you're more diligent on what needs to be done. Every step we could take it probably in a methodical way now. But those days it was like very casual way of saying that, okay, wide outside the off stump, they flash, and then we need somebody with fast legs to stand on the line to. Unfortunately, those two worked well for us. So it was, of course, a strategy that worked well. I mean, that's probably the most pleasurable thing to happen to any cricketer or any cricket team, when you have a strategy and then that works.
But it looked like a turning point because Sri Lanka was blazing away with that kind of batting.
And then this man called Arvinda De Silva changed the course of the match. Yeah, and unfortunate that we lost that match in 1996. Yeah.
Another question is on, both of you talked about humility in life and things like that. Sometimes humility betrays the greatness of people. Now, when you look at today's players, the body language and things like that, do you think it's all necessary in the context of today's game? When you were successful, you took 5 wickets in a match, you didn't have that kind of body language that
you have to act to the television. I think the new generation likes that energy, that vibrancy, that little bit of aggression, and that's what the new, that's the latest mantra in this game. I mean, when you get a wicket, you got to express yourself. So there are few words, explicit words that is said. There are few gestures that is made, and as a match referee, that's what I sit and watch. You cross the line, then I levy a heavy penalty on you. So that's exactly. So, but I think you allow people to express their emotions, which is important. We cannot play mechanically. Like what Narayana Murthy said, humility sometimes has probably been assimilated so much into us that you cannot even express yourself. You get a wicket, bantu, aitu, aa leckacharadalli ನಾವು ಆಡೋದು cricket. But I think everybody is different. People, I don't say that it is wrong, but I think they don't have to cross the line.
Let me take you back even before that, when we didn't have this kind of television. I was watching the Central College ground. KSA was not there at that time. And West Indies was playing South Zone. I think Patodi was there, Brijesh Patel was. I was sitting there as a schoolboy watching this. And they had very fast bowlers and scary bowlers. Griffith was there. Brijesh Patel was a little scared. First innings he didn't play well. Then second innings Patodi came to him and talked. I don't know what he talked. He scored 100. No, so these things also matter. No, you have any such kind of experience in a match when you seem to be losing, but then something happens and somebody comes and motivates.
Yeah, I think the right intervention sometimes helps a player. I can probably Venkatesh Prasad, when he made his debut in Birmingham. When he bowled, when he started running the first ball, his legs were all over the place. I mean, that's the nervous energy. So, and when you strategize, and in the first wicket, what he got was of Graham Hick. Was of Graham Hick, and how people grow into confidence. In a first ball, you're not even running in properly to the pitch, and then we trapped him with a good bouncer. I caught him on the fine leg, and that confidence, it was so high in Venkatesh Prasad that after say few overs, when I went to advise him, he said, "I don't need your advice." So that's what performance can do sometimes. I mean, in a good way, and I think he's a nice guy and all of it. And that's what confidence can do to people. Learnings happen quickly within no time.
Thank you very much. Now I've been asked to sum up quickly because people are getting late. So,
question about Srinath.
When you talk to other Karnataka players, do you speak in Kannada or do you speak in English?
ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀವಿ.
ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಒಬ್ಬರೊಬ್ಬರನ್ನ ಬೈಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೇ ಬೈತೀರಾ?
ಬೈಯೋದು ಕಮ್ಮಿ.
Okay.
Just a quick sum up, not more than 2 minutes. Both of you shared their life in Mysuru, the younger days in Mysuru. I think many of us would have gone through the similar life in Mysuru, that 1/2 coffee, 3/4 coffee, whatever it is, and missing class and going to a movie, we all went through. But then the turning points also they shared very well, and what are the values in life that really catapulted them. Of course, commitment and competency and their sticking to values. In fact, Narayana Murthy sir, if you look at the tagline of Infosys, it says, powered by intellect and driven by values. But how is it relevant? Because most of these days, the Western ideas say to the entrepreneur, chase valuation. But our school of thought says, you chase values, valuations will follow. So I think that is the takeaway, biggest takeaway from this meeting. And thank you so much, both of you, for sparing your valuable time. You'll remember, you had come here before in CII, I remember, when Dhoni had just taken the captaincy and he was soaring high. At that time also you had shared the analytics, the power of analytics, how it works, and things like that. So thank you profusely. I'm sure you are going to spend some time networking dinner, and the people who can want to interact with him can do so. Thank you all for, especially Director of CFTRA for having taken time out here, and a big round of applause for her. And also, I think there is a scientist from your institute who is also with us. And a big thanks to Sudanma, but for him this program would not have happened, I think. And thanks Bhaskar for moderating the session. Thank you all charter members, student members, associate members, the hotel, and all the other invitees. I may not know some of you, your names, but nonetheless, thank you very much for making such a grand success. Obviously, with two legends sitting here, iconic in their own sphere, it's not surprising that all of you came here. And Mahesh and team, fantastic. And entire Excelsoft team led by Shankar Prasad, taking care of Mr. Narayana Murthy and tracking his arrival here. It was worth the wait because people are just excited to see you. Thank you so much.